haven't been covering politics for the longest time, but even all the time I've kept up with politics and history that I've read about politics informs me that what we're seeing right now is near unprecedented, historic, and something you rarely get to see in politics. A momentum shift, as we continue to talk about. The surge of a movement that is unifying around a super hopeful and bright and forward-thinking message. So often explosive, energized movements rally around really negative causes. The MAGA movement, for example. And there's a lot of enthusiasm in that population. But what we're seeing now in the pro-democracy movement rallying behind the Harris-Walz ticket is something to behold. And it's so exciting to see. And yesterday we covered the rally in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where Walz was first shown off as the VP pick for Kamala Harris. They had their first joint rally together, and it was packed. And I'll show you some trolling that was done of Trump about the differences in crowd sizes, something he's obsessed with. But given that his value, his strength comes from those sorts of aesthetic things, like big rallies, like big crowds, that's why he lies about his crowd sizes constantly. The excitement that we're now seeing manifesting into huge crowds for the Harris-Walz campaign is Trump's nightmare. And it's not just rallies. It's not just enthusiastic small groups of people. This is a broader thing we'll look at in polling in this segment. But first, look at this. As this crowd waits for Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to appear at the rally, they're chanting,
"Democracy looks like."
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
That's
wow. And then in Philadelphia, both Vice President Kamala Harris and Donald Trump held a rally at the exact same venue. And look at the differences between the attendance. A whole empty section for Trump that is jam-packed for Harris. Now, I will continue to say, which is why we're going to look at the data in a second, crowd size isn't a direct indicator. It's not a perfect indicator of support. Trump often got bigger crowds than Biden. Part of that was the pandemic, but even I've been willing to concede, I'm sure often that is the case. Going to a rally is not the same participation in our democratic process as voting, and some people just go vote and they never will show up to a rally. So crowd sizes is something that's fun to observe, especially whenever the person that you support is getting huge crowds. But the reason why I'm fixating on it here is because Trump's obsessed with it. And this is his absolute nightmare. The one thing that he thought made him appear so supported, he's losing on, as you can see by this photo that, by the way, this split screen was posted on Truth Social by the Harris campaign so that Trump supporters could see it and possibly Trump himself. This is the movement, by the way, that Trump deserves to go up against. It was so aggravating for so long to see Trump with how dangerous he is, how often he exploits his own followers and the power they give him for such negative intentions, even harming them. The fact that he's not qualified to be president has done horrific damage to our democratic process and still has such a solid shot at winning, was favored for the longest time. It didn't make sense. And now we're seeing the energy on the other side, the energy for democracy, surpass that of the MAGA energy. And that is what Trump deserves to go up against, a movement that is strong and energized and can defeat him. Here's an example of the a crowd lining up for this Wisconsin event as Harris and Walz travel there. Just a time lapse I'll describe for our podcast listeners, showing the stunning, I think the line got up to 2 miles long. 2 miles of people waiting to get into this event. People are passionate, and the Trump campaign is in shambles, and they should be. They should be terrified. And then you have this. Just another example of long before they appear, people already ready to go. And David Hogg posted a similar clip captioning it. This was a Harris Walz campaign rally in Wisconsin today, sending my deepest thoughts and prayers to the Trump team. This is, I need to say it again, because it's hard to really grasp it if I just say it in a normal voice and calmly. We really need to understand this moment and be excited about it, because we're going to be telling people in the future about this turning point in American history. That's what this is, a turning point in American history where for too long, even after victory in 2020, the darkness and the hate and the division that came of the MAGA ideology was still so present. And we knew Trump was going to come and run again and bring all that back. And Fox News did everything it could to continue pushing these harmful ideas. But the relief I think we're all feeling in seeing not just a movement and a campaign that has the right principles, but one that has the campaigning ability to lead the movement to victory for the sake of all Americans is truly relieving. And this is something that the Trump team is panicking about. And take a look at this. Now, in both of the two big averages of polling that we use to monitor the state of a bunch of different polls, Real Clear Politics and 538, Vice President Kamala Harris is now leading in both. It's so exciting. Real Clear Politics average has her 0.5 up on Trump, a narrow lead, but the exciting part is not even just the lead, it's the momentum. Look at this. Biden withdraws here, and Trump is up 47.9% to 44.8%. And just in a matter of days, Harris has gone from behind Trump to ahead of him. How much further can she go? I'd predict much further. And then you have her favorability rating going from 38.4% favorable, now jumping in that same time span all the way to 44.3%. Just a spike. Look at that. Look at it. Just nearly a direct upward motion of that favorability rating in the visual. And then we jump over to 538, and you have Harris leading Trump by 1.8 percentage points, 45.2% to 43.4%. And this seems to be the same thing, or this may be battleground states, and also putting her leading, but I'm a little discombobulated about that, so we'll move forward. And we don't want to be arriving to election day with this narrow of a lead. And we'll also focus on the individual battleground states. That's huge. So that's not why I'm woohoo. The thing is the trajectory that the campaign seems to be on. And how even as the Trump campaign tries to figure out their lines of attack against Harris, the American people aren't buying it. And what they are bought into is a pro-democracy, pro-common sense governance, pro-people movement. I'll play this one again for you. If you appreciate this show and appreciate the work that goes into the needless usage of two camera angles and want to support the work we do, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button if you haven't already. Back to the video.
Democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy
I could not have predicted this. I didn't predict it. But regardless, I'll just say I'm very, very happy now. And we have work ahead of us. But it seems the panic in the Trump campaign is even causing Trump to now reconsider his hard stance on only debating Kamala Harris on Fox News. And now he's getting more desperate and seems willing to debate her in a different forum. And if you add to this current enthusiasm a strong debate performance by Vice President Kamala Harris, and as people get to know Tim Walz more, I really do feel confident. And that confidence should be a motivator to work between now and November. If you want to contribute to the campaign, we are trying to raise $1 million among our audience by the time the channel gets to 1 million subscribers. So you can just sort of do both. You click the subscribe button, then go down to the description and click the link there. Contribute whatever you feel comfortable with.